December 9th, 2024, Manhattan. Fifth Avenue, the Helmsley Building, 83rd floor. A man died yesterday. Natural causes, they say. Heart failure. 79 years old. The obituary ran in the New York Times this morning. 300 words, standard executive bio. Former chairman of 2 Fortune 500 companies. Philanthropist. Survived by wife and 3 children. What the obituary doesn't mention: he wore a 33rd degree ring, Scottish Rite, the highest publicly acknowledged rank in Freemasonry. What it also doesn't mention: he was one of 3. 3 people, not 300, not 3,000. 3. And now there are 2. Look, I know what you're thinking. Freemasons? That old conspiracy? Secret handshakes and funny aprons? Come on. But here's the thing. Every major financial collapse in the last 40 years happened exactly 7 days after a Grand Lodge meeting in Basel, Switzerland. Every single one. 1987 Black Monday. 2008 housing crash. 2020 COVID market meltdown. 7 days, like clockwork. The meetings aren't public, no press coverage, no official minutes released. Just a gathering of 33 men in a building that's been standing since 1791. Limestone walls 3 feet thick. No windows on the 3rd floor where they meet. And 3 of those men never leave that room without agreement. Until yesterday, when one of them stopped breathing. So here's what I want you to think about. Drop your answer in the comments. When someone who controls global finance dies, who do you think decides what happens to that power? His family? The other Freemasons? Or does it automatically transfer to someone we've never heard of? Because the transfer happened fast. 24 hours fast. The official story about Freemasonry goes like this. Fraternal organization. Started in 1600 England. Stonemasons and builders. Evolved into gentlemen's club. Benjamin Franklin was a member. George Washington. Mozart. Nothing sinister, just guys doing charity work and wearing medallions. Sounds harmless, right? Except, Benjamin Franklin wasn't just a Freemason. He was Grand Master of 9 lodges across France and Pennsylvania. He met with French Freemasons in 1776, the same year he secured French funding for the American Revolution. Coincidence? George Washington laid the cornerstone for the U.S. Capitol building in 1793. Full Masonic regalia, apron, gavel, the works. The ceremony took 3 hours. Specific astronomical alignment. The sun had to be at exactly 33 degrees above the horizon. Why 33? Mozart wrote The Magic Flute in 1791. Coded Masonic symbolism throughout. 3 temples, 3 doors, 3 spirits. Protagonist goes through 33 trials. Mozart died 10 weeks after the premiere, 35 years old. Official cause: severe miliary fever. His body disappeared within hours. No autopsy. Buried in unmarked grave. Vienna records show 5 other prominent Freemasons died the same week, all under 40, all sudden illness. The pattern's been there for 230 years. We just don't look. So let's talk about the 3. Not the 33 degrees of Scottish Rite, not the 3 pillars of Masonic temples. The 3 actual human beings who sit at the apex. I can't give you their names, not yet. Legal reasons. But I can tell you what they control. First man, banking. Sits on the board of the Bank for International Settlements in Basel, the BIS, the central bank for central banks. It settles transactions between the Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, Bank of Japan. $4 trillion moving through their systems daily. The BIS building is brutally ugly. Concrete tower, 18 stories, looks like a factory. But the third-floor basement, that's where it happens. Climate controlled at exactly 62 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Humidity locked at 45%. Same conditions as the Vatican's secret archives. Why does a bank need archival climate control? Second man, technology, venture capital. His firm seeded Google in 1999, Facebook in 2004, Palantir in 2003. Every major tech company that handles data surveillance got early funding from his portfolio. He doesn't do interviews, no Forbes profile, no TED Talks. His Wikipedia page is 7 sentences long, last updated in 2018. Photo shows him at a charity gala in 2012. Navy suit, no tie. And on his right hand, the ring. Third man, the one who died yesterday. He controlled something different. Not money, not technology. Narrative. He sat on the board of 4 major media conglomerates. Not CEO, not president, just board member. The guy who shows up 4 times a year for board meetings. Votes on executive appointments. Approves strategic direction. But here's the weird thing. Every major newspaper acquisition in the last 20 years, he was involved. Washington Post sold to Bezos in 2013. He consulted on the deal. LA Times sold to biotech billionaire in 2018. He brokered the introduction. Atlantic Magazine bought by Steve Jobs' widow in 2017. He sat on the transition committee. The man had no journalism background, no media experience listed on any resume. He made his money in pharmaceuticals, synthetic compounds, patent law. So why was he the go-to guy for media transactions? And this is where it gets strange. The Basel meetings happen 4 times a year: March 21st, June 21st, September 21st, December 21st. Equinoxes and solstices. The same dates Masonic Grand Lodges have used since 1717. 33 men attend, always 33. If someone dies or retires, replacement is selected within 72 hours. The selection process isn't democratic. No vote, no election. The 3 choose the replacement. How do I know this? Because in 1998, a man named Richard Brennan tried to publish internal Masonic correspondence. Brennan was a 32nd degree Mason, 1 degree below the top. He'd been member for 47 years, trusted, connected. He got his hands on meeting minutes from a 1994 Basel gathering. 12 pages, typed on manual typewriter, no digital record. He made photocopies, sent them to New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post. None of them published. Brennan held a press conference in Washington, D.C., November 12, 1998. 4 reporters showed up. He presented the documents, explained what they revealed. The next day, Brennan's house caught fire. Electrical fault, investigators said. He was inside. 71 years old. Body so badly burned, dental records couldn't confirm identity. Had to use DNA from his daughter. The photocopies? Destroyed in the fire. Original documents? Never found. But Brennan's daughter kept something. Her father had given her a safety deposit box key 3 weeks before he died. Told her not to open it unless something happened to him. She opened it in 2003, 5 years after his death. Inside, a single photograph. The photograph shows 12 men sitting around a table. Oval table, dark wood. Looks like mahogany. Heavy. The kind that weighs 600 pounds. Room has no windows, stone walls. You can see texture, rough cut. Not modern construction. Old. Really old. 11 of the men wear dark suits, white shirts, conservative, standard executive attire. But the 12th man, far left, end of the table, he's wearing full Masonic regalia. White gloves, apron with gold trim, collar with symbols embroidered in silver thread. And he's holding something. Small object, maybe 6 inches long, cylindrical, metallic. Reflects the overhead light with this strange golden shimmer. The photograph is dated on the back in pen. Basel, March 21st, 1994. That's the spring equinox. The date matches Brennan's copied meeting minutes. Brennan's daughter tried to get the photo authenticated. Sent it to 3 different forensic document examiners. All 3 confirmed the same thing. Photograph is genuine. Film stock matches Kodak production from early 1990s. No digital manipulation. No signs of forgery. She tried to identify the men in the photo. Sent copies to investigative journalists. Posted it online in 2009. Within 48 hours, the image was scrubbed from every website. Gone. Deleted. She still has the original in a safe deposit box in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've seen the photograph. Can't show it to you. Legal reasons again. But I can describe what I saw. The man in Masonic regalia. His face is clear, sharp focus. And I recognized him. Not from business news, not from politics. From a different photograph. One that's public. Easy to find. It's the official portrait of the Supreme Court Chief Justice from 1991 to 2005. Same face, same distinctive scar on the left cheekbone, same jawline. But here's the problem. According to official records, that Chief Justice never joined the Freemasons. No membership on record, no lodge affiliation. His obituary in 2005 makes no mention of Masonic involvement. So either the photograph is wrong, which forensic experts say it's not, or he hid his membership for 14 years while serving in the highest court in America. Now, let's open this up a bit, because you need to understand how Masonic structure actually works. Most members never get past the 3rd degree, Master Mason. They join their local lodge, attend meetings, do charity work, raise money for children's hospitals. Completely innocent. But above that, there are 30 more degrees in Scottish Rite. Each degree unlocks different knowledge, different symbols, different oaths. And here's what's fascinating. The rituals for degrees 4 through 32 are published. You can buy the book on Amazon. Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. 800 pages. Written in 1871. But the 33rd degree? Nothing published. No ritual book. No public ceremony. To become 33rd degree, you must be selected, invited. You cannot ask, you cannot apply. Current estimate, only 1,800 33rd degree Masons exist worldwide, out of 6 million total Freemasons. That's 0.03%. And those 1,800? They're stratified further. Geographic zones, national grand lodges, leadership councils. At the very top, the Supreme Council of the 33rd degree, 33 members, global authority for Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And above that, the 3. No official title, no public acknowledgement. Just 3 men who've been making decisions for longer than most of us have been alive. Let me show you how the mechanism works. March 20th, 2008. Bear Stearns collapses. fifth largest investment bank in America, gone in 48 hours. March 21st, 2008, Basel meeting happens, spring equinox. March 28th, 2008, 7 days later, J.P. Morgan Chase announces acquisition of Bear Stearns for $2 per share. Company was worth $70 per share the previous week. Who approved that acquisition? Federal Reserve. Emergency weekend meeting, no public debate. Who was on the Federal Reserve Board in 2008? 5 governors. 3 of them had connections to investment banks with documented Masonic leadership. Coincidence? September 14th, 2008. Lehman Brothers files for bankruptcy. Largest bankruptcy in U.S. history. September 21st, 2008. Autumn equinox, Basel meeting. September 28th, 2008. 7 days later. Emergency Economic Stabilization Act passes Congress. $700 billion bailout. Signed into law October 3rd. Same pattern. June 21st, 2016. Brexit vote happens. Britain votes to leave European Union. June 21st, 2016. Same day. Summer solstice. Basel meeting. June 28th, 2016. 7 days later. David Cameron resigns as Prime Minister. Every major global economic event follows Basel meetings within 1 week. And those Basel meetings happen on dates determined by astronomy. Dates the Freemasons have considered sacred since 1717. You think that's random? So let's talk about what happened yesterday. The man who died, I'll call him Subject 3 for legal reasons. He had a routine. Same routine for 26 years, every morning. 6:15 a.m., black coffee, no sugar, no cream. He'd sit in his study on the 83rd floor of the Helmsley building and read 4 newspapers cover to cover. Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, New York Times, Washington Post. Took him 90 minutes. Then he'd make phone calls. 4 calls, same 4 people every morning. The calls lasted exactly 7 minutes each, 28 minutes total. Who were the 4 people? His daughter tried to find out after he died, checked his phone records. All 4 numbers were registered to shell companies, Delaware corporations. No listed officers, no public addresses. She hired a private investigator, former FBI, 40 years experience. The investigator traced one of the numbers to an office building in Geneva, 7th floor, occupied by a company called Meridian Consulting Group. Website says they provide strategic advisory services. No client list, no employee directory, just a phone number and contact form. Investigator called the number, got voicemail. Professional recording, British accent. Leave a message and someone will return your call. He left 3 messages over 2 weeks. No response. So he flew to Geneva, found the building, took the elevator to the 7th floor. The door had a small placard, Meridian Consulting Group. No hours listed. He tried the handle, locked. He waited in the lobby for 6 hours. Nobody entered or left that office. Building security said the space had been leased for 18 years, rent paid annually, always on time, but they'd never seen anyone use the office. The investigator came back the next day with a locksmith, offered 500 Swiss francs to open the door. Inside, empty. Completely empty. Concrete floor, white walls, fluorescent lights. No furniture, no files, no computers. Nothing. Just a single phone jack in the wall, and a landline phone sitting on the floor. Beige plastic, model from the 1980s. cord plugged into the wall jack. That's it. The investigator picked up the phone, heard dial tone, pressed redial. It rang. 3 rings, then a voice. Male, American accent. "We know who you are. Leave Geneva. Today." Click. The investigator left Geneva that afternoon. Subject 3 died at approximately 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, December 8, 2024. His assistant found him slumped in his desk chair, face down on an open book. She called 911. Paramedics arrived in 7 minutes. They pronounced him dead at the scene. No attempt at resuscitation. The paramedic report lists obvious signs of death: body already cooling, lividity setting in. But here's what's strange. The assistant said she'd checked on him at 4 p.m., 30 minutes earlier. He was alive, working, reading. How does a body cool and develop lividity in 30 minutes? Normal time to body cooling, 2 to 3 hours. Normal time to lividity, 4 to 6 hours. Either the assistant is lying about the timeline, or Subject 3 died earlier and someone moved him to look like he died at his desk. The medical examiner's autopsy is scheduled for December 15th, 7 days from now. Want to guess what date December 15th is? 7 days after the winter solstice Basel meeting. The book he was reading when he died? His daughter has it now. The History and Practice of Ancient Masonry by Charles Finch. Published in 1843, rare edition. Maybe 300 copies exist worldwide. The book was open to page 94. Someone had underlined a passage in pencil. Fresh graphite, recently marked. The passage reads, "When the third pillar falls, the temple requires new foundation. The remaining 2 must act with singular purpose, lest the structure collapse entirely." 3 pillars. Masonic temples are built on symbolic geometry. 3 pillars representing wisdom, strength, and beauty. Remove 1 pillar, and the structure becomes unstable. Subject 3 was the 3rd pillar. Now there are 2. And according to that passage, they must act with singular purpose. What does that mean? His daughter found something else in his study, filed between pages of an old ledger book. A letter, handwritten, no date, no signature. The letter is 3 paragraphs long, written in fountain pen, blue ink, neat cursive. I can read you the first paragraph. Legal won't let me share the rest yet. The succession is prepared. Transfer protocols enacted per Basel Covenant of 1791. Replacement selection finalized. Ceremony scheduled for solstice +7. The continuity remains unbroken. The work continues. Solstice +7. December 21st is winter solstice. +7 days is December 28th, 2024. 2 weeks from now. Something's happening December 28th. Some kind of ceremony. Some kind of transfer. And whoever wrote that letter, they knew Subject 3 was going to die. Let me show you one more thing, because this is where physical evidence becomes undeniable. Subject 3 kept a safe in his study. Floor safe, hidden under a Persian rug. His daughter found it when she cleared out his belongings. The safe required 2 keys. She had 1, found it in his desk drawer. But the second key? Missing. She hired a safe technician. Took him 4 hours to drill through the lock mechanism. Hardened steel, 3/4 inch thick. Inside the safe, 3 items. First item, a leather-bound journal, 90 pages. Handwritten entries dating back to 1998. Every entry is dated. Every entry is exactly 7 sentences long, no more, no less. The entries describe meetings, decisions, transactions. Names are coded, initials only, but the subjects are clear. March 21st, 1999. Agreed to consolidate oversight of pharmaceutical approval standards, RB. Will coordinate with FDA Commissioner. Implementation begins June 15th. Expect resistance from consumer advocacy groups. Public messaging prepared. Media support secured. Process will take 18 months. The FDA approved a major shift in drug trial requirements in June 1999. Fast-track approval process. Reduced testing timelines. June 21st, 2001. European monetary integration proceeding ahead of schedule. Holdout nations will require additional pressure. Financial incentives deployed. Target completion by November. Physical currency transition by 2002. Design specifications finalized. Symbolism approved. The euro became physical currency January 1st, 2002. Every entry in the journal corresponds to real-world events. Events that happened 7 to 14 days after Basel meeting dates. Second item in the safe, a photograph. Same photograph Richard Brennan's daughter had. The Basel meeting from 1994. 12 men around the oval table. But this copy is different. Higher resolution. You can see more detail. The metallic object the Chief Justice is holding? In this photo, you can see symbols etched on its surface. Geometric patterns, triangles, circles, a square and compass. The object looks old, really old. Patina on the metal, greenish tint, like oxidized copper or bronze. And at the base of the object, an inscription. 3 words in Latin. Ordo ab chaos. Order from chaos. The motto of the 33rd degree Scottish Rite. Third item in the safe. This is the one that made his daughter call me. A small box, 4 inches square, 2 inches deep, wooden, dovetail joints, no nails, no glue. Craftsmanship looks 18th century. The box has a lock, tiny keyhole, decorative brass escutcheon. She hasn't opened it yet, because when she picked up the box, something moved inside. Something metal, heavy.
Slides from side to side when you tilt the box. And the wood, it smells wrong. Not musty, not old. Sweet. Chemically sweet. Like formaldehyde. Like something's been preserved inside for a very long time. She sent me a photo of the box 2 days ago. Asked if I knew what it might contain. I don't, but I know someone who might. The investigator who went to Geneva. The one who got warned to leave. He's seen something like this before. 20 years ago. Different case, different city. He was investigating Masonic artifacts stolen from a lodge in Philadelphia. 1937 robbery. Cold case. One of the stolen items was described in the police report as a wooden reliquary containing matter of historical significance to the order. The police never recovered it. But the description matches. 4-inch square box, dovetail joints, brass lock. And here's the thing that made him remember.
The police report noted the box smelled of chemical preservative consistent with embalming fluid from the late 18th century. Same smell, same size, same construction. Either Subject 3 had the stolen artifact, or there are multiple boxes like this. And if there are multiple boxes, what's inside them? And why does a 33rd degree Freemason keep one in a floor safe for 26 years? Tomorrow I'm flying to Charlotte, meeting with Richard Brennan's daughter. She's agreed to let me examine the original photograph, full resolution, under magnification. Because there's something in that photo I need to verify. The oval table where the 12 men sit, the wood grain, the shape. I've seen that table before, not in person, in another photograph. Public record, taken in 1865. The photograph shows the signing of the 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery. Abraham Lincoln is in the photo, standing left of center. And the table where the document sits? Oval, dark wood. Distinctive grain pattern, same table. Or at least it looks like the same table. If it is, that table has significance beyond furniture. That table witnessed one of the most important legal documents in American history. And then it appears 129 years later in a secret Masonic meeting. How does a table travel from the White House to Basel, Switzerland? Who authorized that? And what other historical artifacts are sitting in that limestone building with no windows on the 3rd floor? The next Basel meeting is December 21st, winter solstice. The first meeting since Subject 3 died. The first meeting where only 2 of the 3 will attend. And according to that letter found in his study, 7 days later, December 28th, the replacement gets selected. The ceremony happens. The continuity remains unbroken. I need to know who they choose. Because whoever becomes the 3rd pillar, that person will help control global finance, technology, and narrative for the next 20 to 30 years. And we'll never know their name, unless we find out in the next 2 weeks. The clock is running. Charlotte, North Carolina, December 10th, 2024. I'm sitting in a Starbucks on Trade Street, waiting. Brennan's daughter arrives at 9:45 a.m., 20 minutes late. She looks nervous, keeps checking over her shoulder. She's carrying a leather briefcase, brown, worn, brass clasps, the kind lawyers used in the 1950s. We don't shake hands. She sits down, slides the briefcase across the table. "You have 30 minutes, she says. That's all I can give you." I open the briefcase. Inside, the photograph, protected in archival sleeve, acid-free plastic, museum-quality preservation. I lift it out, hold it up to the light. The image is sharper than any reproduction I've seen. You can make out individual threads in the men's suit fabric. See the texture of the stone walls. Count the buttons on the Chief Justice's Masonic apron. And the table. That oval table. I pull out my phone, open the Lincoln photograph from 1865. Zoom in on the table where the 13th Amendment sits. The grain pattern matches. Exactly. Same swirl on the left side. Same knot in the wood near the center. Same distinctive gouge along the right edge. It's the same table. "Do you see it?" Brennan's daughter asks. "The table. It's the Lincoln table." "No. Look closer. At the wall behind them." I zoom in on the photograph. The stone wall, rough-cut blocks, medieval construction. And there, barely visible in the shadow between 2 stones, something metallic, circular, maybe 6 inches in diameter. A seal, pressed into the mortar between stones. I can make out symbols, a square, a compass, and in the center, a single letter, G, the most common Masonic symbol. Stands for geometry, or God, or Gnosis, depending on who you ask. But this seal looks old, really old. The metal has that deep patina, Centuries of oxidation.
That room, she says, it's not in Basel.
What do you mean?
My father traced the stonework, sent photos to architectural historians. The construction style matches buildings from the late 13th century. Scottish lowlands. Specific type of limestone only found in one region.
Where?
Roslin Chapel.
Roslin Chapel. Built 1446, 10 miles south of Edinburgh, Scotland. The chapel is famous for Masonic connections, covered in symbolic carvings, pillars with intricate designs, hidden chambers rumored to exist beneath the foundation. Dan Brown wrote about it in the Da Vinci Code, made it a tourist attraction. 500,000 visitors every year. But the real history is darker. William Sinclair built Roslin Chapel. He was Grand Master of the Masons and Knights Templar in Scotland.
The chapel took 40 years to complete. Sinclair died before it was finished. His body is buried in the crypt, along with 12 other Sinclair lords, all buried in full armor, all sealed in stone coffins. The crypt hasn't been opened since 1690. Why? The Scottish Crown declared it a protected historical site. No excavation permitted. No ground-penetrating radar. No archaeological surveys. The official reason? Structural integrity concerns. The weight of tourists above might collapse the crypt below. But here's what's interesting. In 1947, a group of Freemasons petitioned the Crown to open the crypt, said they needed to verify historical artifacts, offered to fund full restoration of the chapel. Petition denied. They tried again in 1962. Same request, same offer. Denied again. 1979, third attempt. Denied. Why would the Crown repeatedly block Freemasons from accessing their own historical site? Unless something in that crypt isn't supposed to be found. My father believed they meet there, Brennan's daughter says. Not Basel, Roslin. But the Basel meetings are documented. Swiss banking records show payments to the Grand Lodge building. Decoy. Think about it. 33 men fly to Basel 4 times a year. Public record, travel manifests, hotel bookings. That's the visible meeting, the official gathering. And the 3, they go somewhere else, somewhere no one tracks. Roslin Chapel closes to tourists 4 times a year for maintenance. March 20th, June 20th, September 20th, December 20th. The day before each equinox and solstice. The chapel is closed for 24 hours each time. Staff gets paid leave. Security system goes offline for updates. And the next morning, everything returns to normal. Who authorizes the closures? Roslin Chapel Trust, charitable organization, board of 7 trustees. All appointed for life. She pulls out another document, photocopied list of names, current trustees of Roslin Chapel Trust. I scan the list. Third name from the bottom makes my hands go cold. Subject 3. The man who died 2 days ago. He's been a trustee since 2001. 23 years. And look at the top name, she says. I look. The current chairman of the trust. Listed residence, Geneva, Switzerland. Listed occupation, strategic consultant. Listed company, Meridian Consulting Group. The empty office, the phone on the floor, the voice that told the investigator to leave Geneva. That voice belongs to the chairman of Roslin Chapel Trust, one of the 3. My phone rings, unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something tells me to pick up. Hello? You're in Charlotte. Male voice, American, calm, almost friendly. Who is this? You met with Sarah Brennan, examined the photograph. You're making connections. I look around the Starbucks. Nobody's watching me. Brennan's daughter has gone pale. How do you know? We know everything. We've known since you started asking questions. We let you continue because you're doing good work, asking the right questions. Why are you calling? To help you. You want to know what's in the box? The wooden box Subject 3 kept in his safe. You know about that? We know about all of them. There are 12 boxes, one for each of the original members. Roslin, 1791. What's inside? Proof. Proof of what? That the continuity is real. That the succession has never broken. Not in 233 years. Each box contains a physical link to the founding. Something that connects the current holder to the original covenant. What kind of link? Open the box. You'll understand. I don't have access. Subject 3's daughter will contact you today. She's decided to open it. She wants a witness. Someone who can document what happens. Why would she trust me? Because we told her to. The line goes dead. 3 hours later, I'm on a flight to New York. Subject 3's daughter, I'll call her Monica for legal reasons, sent an email at 2 p.m. Subject line, tonight, 8 p.m., bring a camera. The email contained an address, Upper East Side, private residence. I land at LaGuardia at 6:30. Traffic into Manhattan takes an hour. I arrive at 7:55. The building is pre-war, 1920s construction, limestone facade, doorman in the lobby. He checks my ID, makes a phone call, nods. 83rd floor, service elevator. I take the elevator. Brass fixtures, Art Deco panels. The kind of elevator that moves slowly, gives you time to think. I'm thinking about that phone call, the voice, calm, controlled, almost rehearsed. We let you continue because you're doing good work. They've been watching the whole time. They could have stopped me any time. But they didn't. Why? Because they want this story told. They want someone to document what happens next. The elevator opens. Monica is waiting in the hallway. She's mid-50s, gray hair pulled back, sharp eyes. She looks like her father. "You came," she says. I came. She leads me into the apartment, Subject 3's study. The room smells like old books and furniture polish, wood paneling, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, desk facing the window, view of Central Park 83 floors below. The box sits on the desk, under a bright LED lamp. 4 inches square, 2 inches deep, dovetail joints, brass lock. And next to it, a key. "Where did you find the key?" I ask. "I didn't. It arrived this morning, courier delivery. Plain envelope, no return address, just the key and a note." "What did the note say?" She hands it to me. Single piece of paper, handwritten, same blue ink, same neat cursive as the letter in her father's study. The note reads, "The time for revelation has come. Open the box in the presence of a witness. Document what you find. The continuity must be known." No signature. Monica picks up the key. Her hand trembles slightly. "I need you to film this," she says. "Everything, from the moment I unlock it." I pull out my phone, start recording. She inserts the key into the lock. It fits perfectly. She turns it. The mechanism clicks. Smooth, well-maintained. She lifts the lid. The smell hits immediately. Sweet, chemical, formaldehyde. But underneath that,
something organic, something old. Inside the box, cloth, dark fabric, velvet maybe, burgundy color, folded carefully. Monica reaches in, lifts the cloth, unfolds it slowly. And there, resting in the center of the velvet, a finger. Human finger. Severed at the second knuckle. Preserved. The skin is leathery, brown, desiccated, but intact. Monica gasps, drops the velvet. The finger rolls onto the desk. I keep filming, zoom in. The finger wears a ring, gold band, thick, heavy.
And on the face of the ring, symbols. Square and compass, the letter G. 33rd degree ring, but this ring is old. The gold has patina. The symbols are hand-carved, not cast, not modern manufacturing. I look closer. There's an inscription inside the band. Tiny letters. I can barely read them. W.S. 1791. W.S. William Sinclair, the builder of Roslyn Chapel. He died in 1484, but this ring is dated 1791, 307 years after his death. Monica has gone completely still, staring at the finger, not blinking. "That's not possible," she whispers. I'm thinking the same thing, but I'm also thinking about what the voice on the phone said. Each box contains a physical link to the founding. This finger, if the ring inscription is accurate, belonged to someone in 1791, someone who wore a 33rd degree ring. But who? William Sinclair died centuries earlier. His body is sealed in the Roslyn crypt. Hasn't been disturbed since 1690. Unless someone opened that crypt in 1791, removed something, and created 12 boxes. 12 physical links, one for each founding member. I pick up the finger. It's surprisingly light. The preservation is remarkable. You can still see the fingerprint ridges, the nail bed. And there, on the underside of the finger, something I didn't notice before. A mark, burned into the skin, like a brand, a symbol. Triangle, eye in the center, the all-seeing eye. The most recognizable Masonic symbol, used on the Great Seal of the United States, on the back of every dollar bill. But this version is different, more detailed. The eye has a pupil. The triangle has letters at each corner. O-A-C. Ordo ab Chao. Order from chaos. There's something else in the box, Monica says. I look. She's right. Beneath where the velvet was, a piece of paper, folded, yellowed with age. She lifts it out carefully, unfolds it. The paper is covered in writing, handwritten, faded brown ink. The handwriting is old style, elaborate, difficult to read, but at the top, a date. March 21st, 1791. And below that, a list. 12 names, each name followed by a city, a title, a number. The first name, William Cavendish Bentinck, London, banking, 1. Second name, Johann Jakob Kauler, Stuttgart, finance, 2. Third name, Stephen Girard, Philadelphia, trade, 3. I recognize that name. Stephen Girard, American banker, one of the wealthiest men in early America. He funded the War of 1812, saved the US government from bankruptcy. He was also a Freemason. The list continues. 12 names, 12 cities, 12 industries: banking, finance, trade, manufacturing, shipping, mining, agriculture, textiles, publishing, medicine, law, arms. Every major sector of the economy in 1791. And at the bottom of the page, a statement, written in different handwriting.
Clearer, more modern. The Covenant of 12 becomes the Rule of 3. When 4 generations pass, the structure condenses. 12 becomes 6. 6 becomes 3. 3 becomes eternal. 4 generations, roughly 100 years. 1791 to 1891. The 12 becomes 6. 1891 to 1991. The 6 becomes 3. And in 1991, 100 years ago, the structure became what it is now. 3 people, controlling everything the original 12 controlled: banking, technology, narrative, the modern equivalents of the original 12 industries. My phone buzzes. Text message, unknown number. You understand now, the continuity, the succession. One more thing to find. Check Subject 3's journal. Entry from September 21st, 2023. Last entry. Read it carefully. Monica still has the journal. She pulls it out of her bag, flips to the last entry. September 21st, 2023. Autumn equinox, 15 months ago. The entry reads, Replacement protocols activated. Candidate identified. Background verification complete. Bloodline confirmed. Current position provides ideal cover. Age appropriate. Temperament suitable. Will require education in Covenant history. Ceremony scheduled for next succession event. Estimated timeline, 14 to 18 months. 14 to 18 months from September 2023. That brings us to November 2024 through March 2025. Subject 3 died December 8th, 2024. Right in the middle of that window. They knew, Monica says. He knew. 15 months ago, he knew he'd be dead by now. Or they planned it that way. She looks at me. You think they killed him? I think when you're part of a system that's run for 233 years without breaking, individual lives become negotiable. Another text message. The candidate is someone you know, someone in public view, someone whose appointment would seem natural. Think about who was appointed to critical positions in the last 6 months. I start searching. Phone browser, news archives, last 6 months, major appointments, government, finance, technology. Federal Reserve. New governor appointed in July. Janet Keller. Former Goldman Sachs executive, Stanford Economics PhD. Supreme Court. No new appointments. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement happened in 2020. CIA director. No change. William Burns still in position. FBI director. No change. Christopher Wray still serving. Secretary of Treasury. Janet Yellen, appointed 2021. Nothing obvious. Nothing recent enough. Wait. I search CEO appointments 2024. There, August 15th. BlackRock. New CEO, Jason Harding, replacing Larry Fink, who retired after 32 years. BlackRock manages $10 trillion in assets. Largest asset management company in the world. Controls investment portfolios for governments, pension funds, central banks. If you wanted to control global finance in the 21st century, you'd need someone at BlackRock. I searched Jason Harding's background. 47 years old, Wharton MBA, 22 years at BlackRock. Worked his way up, standard corporate climb. No public Masonic affiliation, no lodge membership on record. But his official biography mentions he sits on several charitable boards. I click through. There, buried in the third paragraph. Mr. Harding serves as a trustee for the Roslyn Chapel Trust, appointed 2022, 2 years ago, before Subject 3 died, before the replacement protocols were activated. They were preparing him. Third text message. You're close. One final piece. The ceremony happens in 6 days, December 21st, winter solstice. But the transfer requires all 3 boxes, Subject 3's box, and 2 others.
They will be brought to Roslyn. You need to be there.
How? I type back. Chapel is closed, no access. The response comes immediately. You'll be invited. Watch your email. Monica is reading over my shoulder. This is insane. You can't actually go. Why not? Because if they're willing to kill my father to maintain their system, what makes you think they won't kill you for witnessing it? They want me there. They told me to come. They gave us the key to this box. They're letting this happen. Why? Good question. Why would a secret organization that's operated in shadows for 233 years suddenly want documentation? Want exposure? Unless they don't think they're exposing anything. Unless they think showing the ceremony strengthens their position, proves the continuity, proves the power, proves they're untouchable. Because what can anyone do? Even if I film the whole thing, even if I publish everything, who's going to stop them? Which government?
Which agency? Which court? They've been selecting those leaders for 2 centuries. December 14th, 2024, 4 a.m. I'm awake. Haven't slept. Monica's apartment. She gave me the guest room. I've been reviewing everything, all the evidence, all the photos, all the documents. The photograph from Basel, the journal entries, the finger with the ring, the list of 12 names. Every piece fits. The pattern is undeniable. 1791, the covenant forms. 12 men controlling 12 industries. 100 years later, consolidation. 12 becomes 6. Another 100 years. Final condensation. 6 becomes 3. And the 3 have been running the system ever since, choosing replacements, maintaining continuity, meeting 4 times a year, making decisions that ripple through global markets within 7 days. My email dings. Subject line, invitation. The email reads, "You are cordially invited to witness the ceremony of succession, Roslyn Chapel, December 21st, 2024, 11 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. A car will collect you from Edinburgh Airport at 8 p.m. Bring documentation materials. You may record the ceremony. You may publish what you see. These are the terms. Accept or decline. No signature, no sender name, just an email address. A string of random numbers and letters, probably deleted within minutes of sending. I have 3 options. Decline, forget everything, walk away, publish nothing, live my life. Accept, go to Scotland, film the ceremony, publish everything, become the person who exposed the truth. Or, option 3, accept, go to Scotland, and don't come back. Because maybe they're not inviting me to witness. Maybe they're inviting me to disappear. I forward the email to 3 people, journalists I trust, people who know how to handle sensitive material,
People who will publish if something happens to me. Then I book a flight. Edinburgh, December 20th. Departure 6 a.m.
Monica finds me in the kitchen at 5, making coffee. You're really going? I'm really going. They're going to kill you. Maybe. Probably not. They've had opportunities already. They let me continue. That means something. It means they're confident you can't hurt them. She's probably right. But I'm going anyway. Because this story is bigger than me. Bigger than my safety. Bigger than whether I live or die. This is 233 years of hidden power. Of decisions made in shadows. Of men who shaped the world and left no fingerprints. And now they're willing to let someone see it. Even if it's just to prove they're untouchable. December 20th, Edinburgh Airport, 8:15 p.m. I'm through customs, baggage claim, walking toward the exit. A man in a dark suit holds a sign, my name printed in block letters. I approach. He nods, takes my bag, doesn't speak. The car is a black Mercedes, S-Class, tinted windows. He opens the rear door. I get in. The interior smells like leather and something else. Faint, familiar. Formaldehyde. The same smell from the boxes. There's someone already in the car, sitting in the far seat, face in shadow. The driver closes my door, gets in front, starts the engine. We pull away from the airport. The person next to me leans forward. Light from passing street lamps hits their face. It's the investigator, the one who went to Geneva, the one who got warned to leave. Surprised? He asks. Very. They invited me too. Same email, same terms. I got on a plane this morning. You think this is real? They'll actually let us film. He reaches into his jacket, pulls out something small, metallic, a camera, professional grade, the kind investigative journalists use, night vision, high resolution. I've been to Roslin before, 1999, different case. I know the layout. There are places to hide cameras, places they won't check. You think we'll need hidden cameras? They said we could record. They said you could record the ceremony. They didn't say you could record everything. There are rooms in that chapel tourists never see, chambers beneath the crypt. If we get access, we film everything. Everything. The car turns off the main road, heading south, toward Roslin. We arrive at 10:45 p.m. The chapel is dark, no lights, no tourists, no staff. Just the building, silhouetted against the night sky. Gothic architecture, stone spires, stained glass windows black in the darkness. The driver stops at the main entrance, opens our doors. Wait here, he says. First words he's spoken. He walks to the chapel door, knocks 3 times, pauses, knocks twice more. The door opens, warm light spills out. A figure stands in the doorway, robed, face hidden by a hood. The driver gestures toward us. We approach. The robed figure speaks, male voice, British accent, old, 70 or 80 years old. You are expected. Follow me. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not touch anything unless instructed. Do not photograph until the ceremony begins. Understood? We nod. He turns. We follow him inside. The chapel interior is lit by candles, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They line the walls, fill the windowsills, cluster around pillars. The air is thick, smoke from the candles, incense, that sweet formaldehyde smell, and something else. The smell of old stone, of earth, of things buried deep.
The robed figure leads us down the center aisle, past pews, past the altar, to a side door hidden behind a tapestry. He opens it. Stone steps leading down into darkness. The ceremony takes place below, he says, in the original foundation, where William Sinclair laid the first stone, where the covenant was sealed. We descend. The temperature drops, every step colder. By the time we reach the bottom, I can see my breath. We're in a chamber, rough stone walls, low ceiling, maybe 20 feet square. And in the center, that table. The oval table, the Lincoln table, the table from the Basel photograph. It's here, in the foundation of Roslyn Chapel, surrounded by 12 chairs, 11 empty, 1 occupied. A man sits at the far end, facing us. He's maybe 70, silver hair, wearing a dark suit, white shirt, no tie. And on his right hand, the ring. He stands, gestures to 2 chairs against the wall. "Gentlemen, welcome. Please sit. The ceremony begins in 7 minutes. You may record everything that happens after midnight, not before. Is that clear?" We sit. He checks his watch. Omega, gold, probably worth $50,000. "They'll arrive shortly. When they do, remain silent. You're here to observe, nothing more." "Who's arriving?" the investigator asks. The man smiles. "The 2, and the 1 who becomes 3. Footsteps on the stairs, multiple people descending. The candles flicker, shadows dance on the walls, and then they appear. 2 men. Both wearing full Masonic regalia. White gloves, aprons, collars with symbols in gold thread. Behind them, a 3rd man. Younger, 45, 50 maybe. Dark suit, no regalia. I recognize him immediately. Jason Harding, the new BlackRock CEO, the man who will become the 3rd pillar. The 2 men in regalia take their seats at the table, opposite ends, symmetrical. Harding stands, waiting, uncertain. One of the men speaks, American accent, deep voice. "Jason Harding, you have been selected for succession. You understand what this means?" "I do." "You accept the responsibility, the burden, the continuity." "I accept." "Then approach." Harding walks to the table, stands at the head, where subject 3 would have sat. The 2nd man reaches into his robes, pulls out a wooden box, 4 inches square, 2 inches deep, dovetail joints, just like the one Monica opened. He places it on the table. The 1st man does the same. Another box, identical construction. 2 boxes.
Plus the one subject 3 had. The 3 boxes. The 2nd man speaks. British accent. The old voice from the chapel entrance. "The covenant requires 3. When one falls, another must rise. The continuity cannot break. For 233 years, we have maintained the structure. Tonight, we restore the balance." He opens his box, lifts out the velvet cloth, unwraps it. Another finger, another ring, another burned symbol. The 1st man opens his box. Same contents. Finger, ring, symbol. They place the fingers on the table, side by side. "These are the foundations," the British man says. "William Sinclair, Jonathan Maxwell, Robert Moray. The first 3. The men who created the covenant in 1791. Their oath binds us. Their sacrifice empowers us. Their vision guides us." He looks at Harding. Place your right hand on the table, palm down. Harding does. The British man pulls out a knife. Small, thin blade, surgical steel. Oh, God.
The covenant requires blood, he says. A piece of the living joins the pieces of the dead. The continuity made flesh. He positions the knife above Harding's hand, the tip touching his skin just below the knuckle of the ring finger. Do you consent? Harding's face has gone white, but his voice is steady. I consent. The British man presses down. The blade cuts. Blood wells up, dark, almost black in the candlelight. Harding doesn't scream, doesn't move, just watches his own blood pool on the table. The American man pulls out gauze, medical clamps, tourniquet. They're not taking the whole finger, just a piece, the tip, below the first knuckle. The British man works quickly, cuts clean through, bone, tendon, skin. The fingertip separates, falls onto the table next to the other three. They wrap Harding's hand, apply pressure, stop the bleeding. It is done, the British man says. 4 fingers, 4 corners, the balance restored. He reaches into his robe again.
Pulls out a 4th box, places it on the table, opens it. Inside, fresh velvet cloth, burgundy, brand new. He wraps Harding's fingertip, places it in the box, closes the lid. This is yours now. Guard it. Never open it except in the presence of the other 2. Never let it leave your possession. When you die, it will be passed to your successor, as ours were passed to us. Harding nods, face pale, sweat on his forehead. The American man stands, removes his ring. 33rd degree, gold, symbols. He hands it to Harding. Welcome to the 3. They continue. The ritual, oaths, promises, recitations in Latin. I'm filming everything. Phone camera, steady hands, clear footage. The investigator has his camera running too, hidden in his jacket, pointed at the table. This is it, the proof, the documentation, the moment the continuity becomes visible. And they're letting us record it, because they know it doesn't matter. What am I going to do with this footage? Show it to who?
The government, the media, the courts, all controlled by people they selected. People chosen through this same process, people who owe their positions to decisions made at this table. The ceremony ends at 12:47 a.m., December 21st, winter solstice. The 3 stand, shake hands, formal, ritualistic. Then they turn to us. You have your documentation, the British man says. You may publish what you've seen. You may share the footage. You may tell the world. He pauses. But ask yourself this. Will anyone believe you? Will anyone care? Will anything change? He's right. People will call it fake, CGI, actors, a hoax. The footage will circulate, go viral maybe. Conspiracy theorists will embrace it. Mainstream media will debunk it. And nothing will change. Because the system is too big, too old, too entrenched. You can't fight 233 years of continuity with a video camera and an internet connection. The driver takes us back to Edinburgh, 4 a.m. Airport opening. First flights departing at 6. The investigator and I don't speak. What is there to say? We saw it. We filmed it. We have proof. And it's worthless. At the airport, he shakes my hand. I'm not publishing this, he says. I'm going home. deleting the footage, forgetting it happened. Why? Because I want to live. Because I have grandchildren. Because some truths aren't worth dying for. He walks away. I stand there. Terminal slowly filling with travelers, normal people, going to normal places, living normal lives. Not knowing that 3 men in a chapel decided their economic future last night. Decided who controls their money, their jobs, their retirements. Not knowing the system runs on 200-year-old blood rituals and severed fingers preserved in wooden boxes. I pull out my phone, open the video file, the footage of the ceremony. My thumb hovers over the delete button. I could do what the investigator did, walk away, forget. Or I could publish.
And then what? I check my email. 1 new message, sent 3 minutes ago. Subject line: "Thank you for bearing witness." The email reads, "You have seen the ceremony. You understand the continuity. Now you must make a choice. Publish the footage and invite scrutiny you cannot survive. Or keep the secret and live comfortably. We offer the following: $2 million, deposited in an account of your choosing, in exchange for your silence and the destruction of all documentation. You have 24 hours to decide. Choose wisely." No signature. I look at the video again. Clear footage, perfect evidence, everything needed to expose them. And I have 24 hours to decide if my life is worth $2 million. But there's something they don't know. Something I haven't told anyone. When I was in that chamber, when they were performing the ceremony, when all eyes were on Harding's hand and the knife and the blood, I saw something behind the table, against the far wall. Partially hidden by shadow. A door, wooden, small, maybe 4 feet high, medieval construction, iron hinges. And the door was open, just slightly, an inch, maybe 2. Light came from behind it. Not candlelight, electric light, fluorescent, modern. And in that light, shelves, metal shelves, the kind used in archives, climate-controlled storage. Rows and rows of them, extending back into darkness. I zoomed my camera in for just 3 seconds while they were focused on the ceremony, and I saw what was on those shelves. Boxes, hundreds of them, wooden boxes, 4 inches square, 2 inches deep, dovetail joints, all identical to the 3 on the table. Hundreds of boxes, hundreds of preserved fingers, hundreds of 33rd degree rings. Going back how far? How many successions? How many ceremonies? 233 years of continuity. 4 ceremonies per year. New members selected, old members dying. The math is staggering. And they keep every single finger. Every single ring. Every single piece of the people who've controlled the world. A physical archive of power, hidden beneath Roslyn Chapel, preserved in formaldehyde and wood. I have 3 seconds of footage showing that door, that light, those shelves. 3 seconds they don't know I captured. 3 seconds that prove this isn't just current, isn't just 3 people. It's hundreds, maybe thousands. An unbroken chain of succession going back centuries, all documented, all preserved, all hidden in that chamber. And now I have to decide. Take the money and delete everything, or publish the footage and show the world what's really behind that door. The plane boards in 40 minutes. I have to choose. And whatever I choose, someone's watching. Someone knows. And someone's already decided what happens next. I don't board the plane. Instead, I walk to the airport hotel, check in, room 312, lock the door,
close the curtains. Then I upload the video. Not to YouTube, not yet.
Too easy to take down, too easy to trace. I upload to 12 different platforms simultaneously. Encrypted file sharing, decentralized networks, blockchain storage. Places where deletion requires more than a phone call and a wire transfer. The upload takes 47 minutes. While it processes, I write everything, the whole story. Subject 3's death, the Basel meetings, the photograph, the finger in the box, the ceremony at Roslin, and those 3 seconds of footage showing the archive behind the door. I write for 3 hours, 6,000 words, every detail, every name I can legally publish, every connection I can prove. Then I send it to 47 journalists, investigators, researchers, people who've spent careers chasing stories like this, people who won't dismiss it, won't delete it. The email goes out at 8:32 a.m. By 8:35, my phone starts ringing. Unknown numbers, dozens of them. I don't answer. Instead, I check the upload. Complete. The video is live, distributed across 12 platforms, already replicating across nodes. Too late to delete now. Too late to take it back. I lie on the bed, stare at the ceiling. Wait. For what, I don't know. Police? Lawyers? Men in dark suits? Or something worse. The knock comes at 11 a.m. 3 sharp raps. Pause. 2 more. The same pattern from Roslin Chapel. I open the door. It's her, Brennan's daughter, Sarah, from Charlotte. "You published it," she says. I did. "You shouldn't have." She pushes past me, closes the door, locks it, engages the security latch. "They know," she says. "They've known since you uploaded. They're deciding what to do with you." Let them decide. The footage is out there, can't be deleted. "You don't understand. The footage doesn't matter. They've dealt with exposure before. 1963, 1998, 2011. Every time someone gets close, every time someone publishes, it gets buried under new scandals." New outrages. The news cycle moves on. This is different. I have video. I have the ceremony. I have proof. You have 3 seconds of an archive room. 3 seconds of shelves and boxes. You think that's enough? She pulls out a laptop, opens it, shows me the screen. It's a news website, BBC, posted 19 minutes ago. Headline: Deepfake conspiracy video goes viral. Experts warn of AI-generated misinformation. The article is about my video, calls it a sophisticated hoax, quotes 3 digital forensics experts, all saying the footage shows signs of AI manipulation, generative video technology, deepfake faces, complete fabrication. "They had this article ready," Sarah says. "Probably wrote it a week ago, just waiting to see if you'd publish. And the moment you did..." Debunked within an hour. Within 20 minutes. I sit on the bed, feel the weight of it, the futility. They were 3 steps ahead. They knew I'd film, knew I'd publish. Prepared the countermeasure before I even made the decision. "So, what now?" I ask. "Now you take the money, delete everything, disappear for a while, let this blow over." "And if I don't?" She doesn't answer, just looks at me. And I see it in her eyes. Fear. Real fear. "My father tried to expose them," she says quietly. 1998. He published those meeting minutes, held the press conference, showed the documents. And he died in a fire. That's the official story. But I saw the autopsy photos, the ones the police wouldn't release. My father didn't die from burns. He died from a 9mm gunshot wound to the back of the head. The fire came after, to hide the evidence. The room feels colder, the walls closer. Why are you telling me this? Because I like you. Because you're doing what my father tried to do. And I don't want you to end up the same way. She stands, walks to the door, pauses. The money offer expires in 4 hours. Take it. Please. She leaves. I'm alone. But here's what Sarah doesn't know, what nobody knows. Before I uploaded the video, I made a copy. Just the 3 seconds showing the archive room. Enhanced it, increased resolution, brightened the exposure. And I saw something in those shelves. Something I didn't notice during the ceremony. The boxes aren't just stored randomly. They're organized, labeled. Small brass plates on each shelf, engraved letters. I can read some of them in the enhanced footage. One shelf, WS 1791 through 1815. William Sinclair. 24 years of boxes. 24 preserved fingers. No, wait. 4 ceremonies per year. 24 years times 4. 96 boxes on that one shelf. 96 people who held power in William Sinclair's line of succession. I scan the other visible shelves. More labels, more date ranges. JM 1791 through 1822. RM 1791 through 1809. Jonathan Maxwell, Robert Moray, the other 2 founders. And then newer shelves, more recent dates. Banking line, 1991 through 2024. Technology line, 1991 through 2024. Narrative line, 1991 through 2024. The 3 modern lines, the condensed structure, each shelf containing 33 years of succession, 4 ceremonies per year. 33 years, 132 boxes per line. And all 3 lines are full, completely full, every slot occupied. Except one. The narrative line, the shelf labeled 2024. One empty space at the end. Subject 3's space. Because his box is still in New York, in Monica's possession, not yet added to the archive. But that's not what caught my attention. What caught my attention is the shelf below it, a shelf I almost missed, partially obscured by shadow. The label reads, Transition Preparatory, 2025 through 2057. Future dates. Boxes prepared in advance. Ready for the next 33 years of succession. And those boxes aren't empty. I can see through the glass fronts. The boxes already contain fingers, already contain rings. Future fingers, future rings, future people. People who haven't joined yet. People who don't know they'd been selected. People who are already slated to become part of the 3, decades in advance. Their successors chosen before they even die. I need to see that archive again. Need to film it properly. Document every shelf, every label, every box. Prove this isn't just current power. This is planned power. Engineered succession extending into the next century. But I can't go back to Roslyn. They're watching, waiting for me to make that exact move. Unless I don't go through the front door. I pull out my laptop. Search for Roslin Chapel architectural surveys, historical documents, construction plans. Most of the chapel's blueprints aren't public, but in 1997 there was a restoration project. Structural reinforcement. The engineers had to map the entire foundation. Those maps were submitted to the Scottish Heritage Commission. Public record. I find them, download the PDFs, zoom in on the underground sections. There, the chamber where the ceremony took place, labeled as original foundation level, and connected to it, a tunnel, narrow passage, leading west, extending beyond the chapel grounds. The tunnel terminates at a stone well, 200 yards from the main building. The well hasn't been used since the 1600s, sealed off. Dangerous structure. But the tunnel still exists. Connects the well to the foundation chamber. Access to the archive without going through the chapel. I check satellite imagery. The well is on the edge of the property. Wooded area. No fencing, no cameras visible. I could get there, climb down, follow the tunnel, film the archive, get out, all without them knowing. I book a rental car, drive back to Roslin. Arrive at 11 p.m. December 21st, still solstice, 30 hours after the ceremony. Park a mile away, hike through the woods. Cold. Temperature maybe 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Ground frozen. Breath visible in the moonlight. I find the well, exactly where the maps showed. Stone construction, 4 feet in diameter. Metal grate over the opening. Rusted. Old. I pull out a crowbar, pry at the grate. Takes 20 minutes. Metal screeches, flakes of rust fall into darkness below. Finally, it gives. I pull it aside, shine my flashlight down. The well is deep, maybe 60 feet, but there's a ladder. Metal rungs embedded in the stone. Some are missing, some are loose, but enough remain. I clip the flashlight to my jacket, start climbing down. The air gets colder, damper. Smells of earth and mold, and that sweet formaldehyde scent. At the bottom, water. 6 inches deep, freezing. My boots splash. Echo carries. I find the tunnel entrance. Low, 3 feet high. I have to crouch, almost crawl. The tunnel extends into darkness. Stone walls, rough hewn. Medieval construction, probably 700 years old. I move slowly. Flashlight ahead, camera ready, recording everything. 50 yards in, the tunnel widens, becomes a corridor, 6 feet high. I can stand. And ahead, light. That fluorescent glow I saw during the ceremony. The archive. The door is unlocked, just slightly ajar, like they left it that way, like they knew someone would come. I push it open, step inside. The room is massive, 50 feet wide, 100 feet long, ceiling 20 feet high. And the shelves, row after row, floor to ceiling. Metal, industrial, climate-controlled. Temperature display on the wall, 62 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity, 45%. Same conditions as the Vatican's secret archives, same preservation standards. I walk down the first row, reading labels, filming everything. The boxes go back centuries. The oldest shelf? Foundation Covenant, 1791. 12 boxes. The original 12. The founders. I open the first box, the William Sinclair box. Lift the velvet cloth. Inside, exactly what I expected. Preserved finger, gold ring, 33rd degree symbols. But there's also a document, folded parchment. I unfold it carefully. It's a contract, written in English and Latin, dated March 21st, 1791.
The contract lists terms, obligations, promises. The undersigned agree to bind their bloodlines to the covenant. Their heirs shall be educated in the mysteries. Their descendants shall serve when called. No family may refuse selection. No member may break continuity. The punishment for violation is erasure. Erasure, not death. Erasure. Removal from all records. Deletion of the family line from the covenant's memory. 12 signatures at the bottom. 12 founding families. And below that, a list of names. Hundreds of names, added over centuries. Each name followed by a date, a death date. Every person who served, every person who died, every person who was succeeded. An unbroken chain of names from 1791 to 2024. I photograph every page, every signature, every name. Then I move to the modern shelves. The 3 lines: banking, technology, narrative. And I find something that stops me cold. The technology line, current succession, Jason Harding's predecessor. The box is labeled Lawrence Fink, 1991 through 2024. Wait, Lawrence Fink. Larry Fink. The man Jason Harding replaced as BlackRock CEO. He didn't retire. He was succeeded, removed, made way for the next selection. I open his box. The finger inside still looks fresh, recently preserved. The ring still shines. And there's a death certificate. Attached to the inside of the lid, Lawrence Fink, died August 14, 2024. Cause of death, cardiac arrest. But the public Larry Fink is still alive, still gives interviews, still appears at conferences. How? I search my phone. Recent photos of Larry Fink. There, Bloomberg interview, November 2024, 3 months after his supposed death. I look at the photo closely, zoom in on his face, his hands, and I see it. The small tells, the slight asymmetry, the skin texture that's too perfect, too smooth. Deep fake. Extremely sophisticated, but deep fake nonetheless. The real Larry Fink died in August, and they've been using AI to keep him alive in public perception, while the real successor, Jason Harding, takes control behind the scenes. I keep searching, keep opening boxes, keep finding death certificates, dozens of them. People who supposedly retired, stepped down, moved on, all dead. All preserved in this archive, all replaced by successors who operate in shadow. And then I find the shelf that changes everything. Transition Preparatory, 2025 through 2057. The future succession boxes. I open the first one. The label says, Banking Line, Succession Year 2026. Inside, a finger. But this one's different. The skin tone is lighter, the finger is smaller, younger. And there's no death certificate, because this person isn't dead yet. There's a birth certificate instead. Jason Harding Jr., born 2003, current age 21. Jason Harding's son. The next banking line successor is already selected, already prepared, waiting for his father to die or be succeeded. And next to the finger, a small vial, liquid, clear. Label reads, Genetic Sample, extracted 2019, age 16. They took tissue from a 16-year-old kid, created a preservation sample, put it in a box.
marked him for future succession, without his knowledge, without his consent. I checked the other future boxes. More genetic samples, more birth certificates, more children, grandchildren, descendants of current power holders, all tagged, all prepared, all waiting. The succession isn't chosen through merit or achievement. It's genetic, bloodline. If your grandfather served, your father will serve, and you will serve. An aristocracy hiding behind democracy. A hereditary power structure pretending to be meritocracy. And it extends 50 years into the future. Every succession planned, every replacement identified, down to the genetic level. My camera is full. 2 hours of footage. Every shelf, every box, every document. Proof. Undeniable. Irrefutable. But I hear something. Footsteps. Multiple people. Coming through the main entrance. The chapel entrance. They know I'm here. I run back toward the tunnel. My flashlight bounces. Camera still recording. Boots splashing through water. Voices behind me, shouting. British accents, American accents. "Seal the tunnel! Don't let him reach the well!" I run faster, lungs burning. The tunnel slopes upward, getting steeper, harder to climb. Behind me, lights, flashlights. Close, getting closer. I reach the well shaft, start climbing. The metal rungs slippery, wet. My hands numb from cold. 20 feet up, 30, 40. Below me, lights reach the tunnel entrance. Men in dark suits, climbing after me. 50 feet, almost there. I can see the opening. Night sky, stars. My hand reaches for the top rung, grabs. It breaks. Rusted metal. Snaps clean off. And falling. No. My other hand catches, grabs a lower rung, holds, barely. I pull myself up, scramble over the edge, roll onto frozen ground. Get up, run, into the woods, away from the well, away from the voices. I don't stop until I reach the car, throw myself inside, start the engine, drive. Edinburgh, 4 a.m. I'm in an internet cafe, 24-hour place, mostly empty. Just me and 2 university students pulling an all-nighter. I upload everything, the new footage, all 2 hours. Same 12 platforms, same decentralized networks. And I write again, faster now. The genetic samples, the death certificates, the deepfake replacements, the hereditary succession plan extending to 2057. Every detail, every name I can legally publish. I send it to 100 journalists this time, double the original list, adding international contacts, people in countries beyond their immediate reach. The upload completes at 6:18 a.m. By 6:30, the video has been viewed 12,000 times. By 7 a.m., 100,000. By 8 a.m., 3 million. And the calls start. Real journalists, BBC, Guardian, New York Times, Washington Post. They want interviews, want verification, want access to the source material. I give them everything. Point them to the footage, the documents, the locations of every piece of evidence. Within 12 hours, the story is everywhere. Front page, breaking news, international coverage. Secret society controls global finance through hereditary succession. Evidence suggests major CEOs replaced by deep fakes after death. Genetic samples of children found in Scottish archive belonging to Masonic organization. The 3 can't suppress this. Too big, too many sources, too much evidence. For the first time in 233 years, the continuity is visible. December 25th, 2024, Christmas Day. I'm in a safe house, location undisclosed, arranged by a journalist friend with government contacts.
Sarah calls. First time we've spoken since Edinburgh. "You did it," she says. "They can't bury this, it's too big." Have they responded? Officially? No. But 3 major CEOs resigned this morning. All cited personal reasons. All on the list you published. And Harding? BlackRock released a statement. Jason Harding is taking medical leave.
Effective immediately. No timeline for return. Medical leave. His right hand, infected wound, requires surgery and extended recovery. The finger, the ceremony, the piece they took. It got infected. Modern medicine trying to save what ancient ritual damaged. What about the others, the 2 who remain? Nothing public, but sources say emergency meetings. Basel, Geneva, London. They're scrambling. Can they recover? Long pause. I don't know. This has never happened before. The continuity has never been broken like this, exposed like this. They might collapse, or they might adapt, evolve, find a new way to hide. We'll keep watching. Yes, we will. She hangs up. January 3rd, 2025. The fallout continues. More resignations, more investigations. 3 governments launched official inquiries: Scotland, United States, Switzerland. Roslin Chapel is closed indefinitely. Scottish police seized the archive, cataloguing everything, every box. Every document, every genetic sample, and they found more than I filmed. Hidden rooms, deeper chambers, archives going back before 1791. Boxes from 1690, 1623, 1587. The covenant didn't start in 1791. That's just when it formalized, when 12 became the structure. But the succession goes back centuries before that. Different forms, different names, same purpose. Continuity, control, power maintained through blood and ritual. And now it's visible, documented, undeniable. The investigator contacts me, first time since Edinburgh Airport. "I was wrong," he says. "I should have published, should have stood with you." You're alive, that's what matters. But you exposed them. You broke them. Or at least cracked them enough that others can finish the job. We'll see. They've survived exposure before. Not like this. Not with genetic evidence. Not with children's DNA stored without consent. That crosses a line even their defenders can't ignore. He's right. The genetic samples changed everything, made it personal, made it about people's children, people's futures. You can dismiss conspiracy theories. You can ignore financial manipulation. You can rationalize power consolidation. But you can't rationalize stealing DNA from teenagers and marking them for hereditary servitude. That's where the public drew the line. Monica calls, Subject 3's daughter. "They found my father's box," she says. "In the police raid. They cataloged it, confirmed everything you said." "How do you feel?" "Relieved, angry, sad. He was part of this system his whole adult life, 50 years, and he never told us, never hinted, just maintained the lie." "Maybe he couldn't tell you. Maybe the covenant prevented it. Or maybe he believed in it, believed the system was necessary, that someone needs to make the big decisions, steer the ship." And the 3 were chosen to do that. "Do you believe that?" Long silence. "I don't know. Part of me understands. The world is chaotic. Markets are unstable. People are irrational. Maybe someone needs to provide hidden structure, hidden guidance. And the other part? The other part is furious that they thought they had the right, that they could decide for everyone else, that they could plan our futures without asking. Which part wins? I don't know yet. February 14th, 2025. Valentine's Day. 2 months since I published the footage. The investigations are ongoing. Criminal charges filed in 3 countries. Fraud, conspiracy, unlawful genetic collection, identity theft. More charges coming. 67 people have been arrested, mostly lower-level Freemasons, people who maintained the archives, facilitated the ceremonies, handled logistics. But the 3, the actual power holders, they've disappeared.
Jason Harding resigned from BlackRock in January. Hasn't been seen since. Property in Connecticut is empty. Bank accounts frozen. No travel records. The British man from the ceremony, identified as Sir Malcolm Pembroke, former Bank of England governor, also disappeared. Last seen in London on December 27th. Nothing since. The American man, still not publicly identified. No name, no photos. He was the most careful, the most hidden, and he remains hidden. 3 men who controlled trillions of dollars, who shaped global markets, who selected leaders and approved policies. Gone. Vanished into whatever networks they built over 2 centuries. But here's the thing. The absence of the 3 created a vacuum, and vacuums in power structures get filled. By who? By what? We don't know yet, but we're watching, monitoring appointments, tracking CEO selections, looking for patterns. Because the covenant might be exposed. The continuity might be broken. The 3 might be gone. But the systems they built remain. The networks, the connections, the infrastructure of hidden power. And someone will try to use it. Someone always does. March 20th, 2025. Spring equinox. 3 months since exposure. The first equinox without a Basel meeting, without a ceremony, without the 3. I'm in Basel anyway, standing outside the Grand Lodge building, the one with 3-foot-thick limestone walls, no windows on the 3rd floor. The building is dark, empty, seized by Swiss authorities, under investigation. But I'm not alone. 50 other people stand with me. Journalists, researchers, former Freemasons who left the organization when the truth came out. We're here to witness, to mark the moment. The first equinox in 233 years without a secret meeting, without decisions made in shadow. One of the former Freemasons speaks, older man, 75. He was 32nd degree, 1 level below the top. I spent 50 years believing the hierarchy was about brotherhood, about moral improvement, about making good men better. And maybe at the lower levels it was. But this, he gestures to the building, this was never about making anyone better. This was about power, control, dominance. Another person speaks, woman in her 40s, investigative journalist. She's been covering the story since day 1. 3 people shouldn't control the world, no matter how smart they are, no matter how well-intentioned. Power concentrated in 3 hands becomes tyranny. Even if it's benevolent tyranny, even if it's efficient, it's still wrong. I think about Monica's question. Maybe someone needs to provide hidden structure, hidden guidance. Maybe. But that someone shouldn't be chosen by blood, shouldn't be selected through hereditary succession, shouldn't operate in total secrecy for centuries. If we need global coordination, it should be transparent, accountable, democratic. Not 3 men in a stone chamber with severed fingers and ancient rings. April 15th, 2025. Tax Day in America. 4 months since exposure. I receive a package, no return address, postmarked Geneva. Inside, a USB drive and a handwritten note. The note reads, "You exposed the continuity. You broke the 3. But you only saw one archive, one location, one piece of the structure. There are 11 other archives, 11 other chambers, all hidden, all protected. The covenant was built with redundancy, with fail-safes. Rosslyn was just the most visible. The others remain untouched. The succession continues in shadow. The 3 are gone, but the 12 have returned. This USB contains locations, coordinates, access codes. Use them. Or don't. Your choice. But understand, exposure is not destruction. Visibility is not victory. The covenant adapts. Always has, always will. No signature. I plug in the USB. Files open, encrypted, password protected. I try various combinations. Dates, names, locations. Nothing works. Then I try Ordo ab Cao, order from chaos. The files open. 11 folders, 11 locations. Geneva, London, Philadelphia, Cairo, Hong Kong, Sydney, Sao Paulo, Mumbai, Moscow, Tokyo, Washington, D.C. Each folder contains architectural plans, photographs, security protocols, lists of names, current guardians of each archive. The note was right. Rosslyn was just one of 12, the most ceremonial, the most historically significant. But the others remain operational, still maintaining the succession, still planning futures, still selecting replacements. Just more carefully now, more hidden. I could publish this too. Release the coordinates, point investigators toward the other 11 archives. Or I could stop, walk away. I've done enough, risked enough, exposed enough. The journalist in me says publish, expose all 12, tear down every archive, every chamber, every hidden structure. But another part of me, the part that's been living in safe houses and looking over my shoulder for 4 months, says stop. Says you can't fight something this big, this old, this embedded in global power structures. Says even if you expose all 12 archives, they'll just build 12 more, in new locations, with new security, new guardians. Says the covenant has survived for centuries specifically because it adapts, evolves, learns from exposure. And every time someone shines a light on it, it moves deeper into shadow. I think about Larry Fink, the real one, dead since August, replaced by a deep fake. Nobody noticed, nobody questioned. The illusion was perfect. And I think about the future succession boxes, the children marked for service, genetic samples collected at age 16, destinies decided before they're old enough to understand. And I think about the 12 founding families, bloodlines bound to the covenant for 233 years, generations of service. Mandatory, unbreakable. Until now. Because exposure changes things. Even if it doesn't destroy the covenant, even if the 12 archives remain operational, people know now. They're watching. They're questioning. They're demanding accountability. And that's the crack, the vulnerability, the way to truly break continuity. Not through force, not through investigation, not through prosecution, through awareness, through refusal, through the next generation saying no. Jason Harding Jr., 21 years old. His genetic sample sits in a box in that archive, marked for succession in 2026. But what if he refuses? What if he walks away? What if he breaks the bloodline obligation? The covenant says the punishment is erasure, removal from memory, deletion from the records. But can they really erase someone in the age of the internet? In the age of digital permanence? In the age when everything is documented, backed up, distributed? Maybe. Maybe not. But it's harder than it was in 1791, or 1991, or even 2024. The tools of control are eroding. The mechanisms of secrecy are failing. The ability to disappear people without trace is diminishing. Not gone, but diminishing. And that's the hope. May 21st, 2025, 5 months since exposure. I'm still in the safe house, still watching, still documenting. The USB drive sits on my desk, unopened folders glowing on the screen. 11 archives waiting. 11 locations that could be exposed. I've made a decision. I'm going to publish. But differently this time. Not all at once, not in a single dump. That's what they expect. That's what they've prepared countermeasures for. Instead, 1 archive per month, starting in June, ending next April. 12 months, 12 revelations. 12 chances for people to demand change, demand accountability, demand transparency. And between each exposure, I'll give people tools. Information, resources, ways to investigate themselves, ways to verify, ways to act. Because this isn't about me, about my footage, about my investigation. This is about everyone. About the realization that power concentrated in secret hands affects every human on Earth. Your pension fund, your job, your savings, your future. All influenced by decisions made in hidden chambers by people you've never heard of. And once you know that, you can't unknow it. You can't go back to believing the official narratives, the public stories, the visible systems. You start seeing the pattern, the connections, the coordination that's too precise to be coincidence. And you start asking questions, making demands, refusing to accept secrecy as necessary or inevitable. That's how you break a covenant. Not by exposing it once, but by making exposure continuous, relentless, unstoppable. June 1st, 2025. I published the first of the 11 archives, Geneva. The Meridian Consulting Group location. The empty office with the phone on the floor. But the USB shows it's not empty. There's a sub-level. Beneath the office. Accessible through a hidden elevator. The elevator requires a key. A physical key. Held by the current guardian. The guardian is named in the files. Marcus Reinhardt, Swiss banker, 63 years old. Trustee of 7 charitable foundations. Board member of 4 multinational corporations. Publicly respected, privately bound to the covenant. I publish his name, his address, his corporate affiliations, his photograph. And I provide evidence. Documents from the USB, emails, meeting records, financial transactions. all pointing to his role as archive guardian. Within 48 hours, Swiss authorities launch an investigation. Within a week, they obtain warrants, search his properties, find the key, access the sublevel, and discover an archive matching Rosalind's. Hundreds of boxes, centuries of succession, all documented.
All preserved. And they find something else, something the Roslin archive didn't have. Living subjects. 5 people, held in climate-controlled cells, kept alive, barely. Connected to medical equipment, IV drips, heart monitors, breathing tubes. All 5 are listed as deceased in public records. Died between 2015 and 2023. Natural causes, heart failure, strokes, cancer. But they're not dead. They're maintained, preserved, kept in a state between life and death. Why? The documents explain. Transition reserve, living tissue samples for emergency succession protocols, to be terminated only upon final replacement confirmation. Their backup bodies, insurance, in case a chosen successor dies before taking power, in case the genetic samples fail, in case the succession breaks. They kept these people alive for years, against their will, as living insurance policies. The photos go public. The world reacts. Outrage, horror.
Demands for criminal prosecution, not just for conspiracy, but for kidnapping, for torture, for crimes against humanity. This is worse than Roslin. This is active harm, ongoing violation. People imprisoned in secret for years while the world thought them dead. And there are 11 more archives, 11 more chances to find similar horrors. July 1st, London Archive exposed, located beneath a bank in the financial district, operating since 1812. August 1st, Philadelphia Archive, hidden in Independence Hall, in the basement, beneath the room where the Declaration of Independence was signed. September 1st, Cairo Archive, beneath the Egyptian Museum, in chambers that predate the museum's construction. Each exposure brings new revelations, new horrors, new evidence of how deep the covenant runs, how many centuries it's operated, how many people it's controlled. And each exposure brings more defections, more former members coming forward, more testimony.
More documentation. The covenant is collapsing. Not from force, from transparency. From the simple act of making the invisible visible. October 15th, 2025. I'm in Washington, D.C., meeting with congressional investigators. They want everything. All files, all footage, all sources. I give them the USB, the original, complete with encryption keys, access codes, guardian names. They promise protection, witness security, federal marshals, safe houses with actual security instead of just anonymity. I accept. Because I'm tired. Because I've been running for 10 months. Because I want this to end. But I also know it won't end. Not really, not completely. Because the covenant prepared for this, planned for exposure, built redundancy into the system. And somewhere, in some hidden location not on the USB, not in any archive I've found, the real guardians are watching, waiting, planning the next iteration, the next evolution, the next form the covenant will take. Because the note was right. Exposure is not destruction. Visibility is not victory. The covenant adapts, always has, always will.
December 21st, 2025. Winter solstice. 1 year since the Roslin ceremony. 1 year since I filmed the succession. 1 year since I published the footage that started everything. All 12 archives are exposed now. All 12 are being investigated. Hundreds of arrests, thousands of documents seized, decades of trials ahead. The 3 are still missing, still hidden. No signs, no signals, no confirmation of life or death. Maybe they died. Maybe they're imprisoned somewhere by their own organization. Maybe they're in hiding, waiting for the storm to pass. Or maybe they're planning, rebuilding, preparing the next phase. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the nature of secret power. You can expose what's visible, but the truly dangerous parts remain invisible until it's too late. But here's what I do know.
53 families have publicly renounced their covenant obligations. Parents refusing to allow genetic samples, young adults walking away from predetermined succession paths, entire bloodlines breaking the chain. That's never happened before. Not in 233 years. Defection was erasure. Refusal was punishment. But now? Now refusal is resistance. Defection is courage. Breaking the chain is heroism. And the covenant can't erase that many people, can't punish that many families, can't maintain continuity when the bloodlines refuse to participate. That's the real victory. Not destroying the archives, not arresting the guardians, not finding the 3. The real victory is people saying no, choosing transparency over secrecy, choosing freedom over predetermined destiny, choosing their own futures over hereditary obligation. I'm sitting in my apartment now, not a safe house, my actual apartment. First time in a year. The USB drive is gone, in federal custody.
Being used as evidence in dozens of trials. My footage is everywhere. Millions of views, translated into 40 languages, used in documentaries, taught in universities, analyzed by experts. The story is out. Completely, irrevocably, permanently. And I'm alive, still breathing, still here, despite everything they could have done to stop me. Because in the end, they chose visibility over violence, chose exposure over elimination, chose to let the story be told rather than create a martyr. Maybe that was strategic. Maybe it was mercy. Maybe it was acceptance that the old ways can't survive in the modern world. I don't know, and I'll probably never know. But I do know this. The video you just watched, this story I just told, is documented, backed up, distributed across hundreds of servers, shared millions of times. You can verify everything. The archives are public record now. The court documents are available. The evidence is online. And that's the point. This isn't asking you to believe me. This is giving you tools to investigate yourself, to verify, to question, to demand answers. Because the covenant depended on secrecy, on people not asking questions, on accepting official narratives without investigation. And the moment you start investigating, start questioning, start demanding transparency, their power diminishes. Not immediately, not completely, but incrementally, progressively, inevitably. So here's what I'm asking, what I'm begging you to do. Share this video, download it, back it up, repost it, translate it, send it to everyone you know. Because they'll try to bury it again. They always do. Different methods, different tactics. but same goal. Return to shadow, return to secrecy, return to control. And the only way to prevent that is to make the information so widespread, so distributed, so embedded in public consciousness that it can't be deleted, can't be dismissed, can't be forgotten. The 12 archives are exposed.
But there might be more. There probably are more, hidden deeper, protected better, waiting to be found.
And you can find them. You can investigate. You can demand answers. You can refuse to accept secrecy as normal or necessary. The Covenant operated for 233 years because people didn't know, didn't question, didn't resist. Now you know. Now you can question. Now you can resist. What happens next is up to you. Will you share this? Will you investigate? Will you demand transparency from the institutions that control your life? Or will you let it fade? Let it become another conspiracy theory. Let it drift into obscurity while the next iteration of control forms in shadow. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The future is yours. But only if you act. Only if you share. Only if you refuse to forget. December 22nd, 2025. Day after the solstice. Day after my video published. I'm checking the numbers. Views, shares, comments.
5 million views in 24 hours, shared across every platform, trending globally, translated into 62 languages, and the comments, thousands of them. People saying they're investigating, demanding records, filing information requests, organizing. This is different from last year. Last year it was just me, one person exposing one ceremony. This year, it's everyone. Collective action, mass awareness, distributed resistance. And that's what scares them most. Not me, not the footage, not the evidence. The people, awake, asking questions, refusing control. That's the real end of the Covenant, not exposure. Refusal. My phone rings, unknown number. I almost don't answer, but I do. Hello? You've done well. Male voice, American, calm, familiar. The voice from a year ago. The voice that offered me $2 million. The voice from the ceremony. One of the three. Where are you? I ask. Somewhere you'll never find. Somewhere 12 archives can't reveal. Somewhere the Covenant continues. It's over. The system is broken. People know. They're refusing. Your bloodlines are defecting. Today's bloodlines. Tomorrow we'll find new ones. The Covenant doesn't require specific families, only willing participants. And there are always willing participants. People who want power, who crave control, who believe they know better than the masses. But they'll be visible now, watched, questioned. For a time, then attention fades, memory dims, new scandals emerge, and we return. Different form, different structure, same purpose. Not this time. We'll see. Enjoy your victory. You've earned it. But remember, we've survived popes and kings and emperors. We've survived revolutions and wars and collapses. We'll survive you, too. The line goes dead. Maybe he's right. Maybe they'll return. Different names, different methods, same control. Or maybe he's wrong. Maybe this time is different. Maybe transparency really has changed the equation. Maybe distributed awareness really is more powerful than centralized secrecy.
I don't know. Nobody knows. History hasn't been written yet. But I do know this. For the first time in 233 years, the Covenant is defending instead of attacking, reacting instead of planning, hiding instead of controlling. And that shift from offense to defense, that's how empires fall. That's how systems collapse. That's how change becomes possible. Not guaranteed, just possible. And possible is enough. Possible is everything. Possible is the difference between resignation and resistance. So I'll keep documenting, keep exposing, keep sharing, keep reminding people that secret power exists, that hidden control is real, that the Covenant might adapt, but it can't disappear as long as we keep watching. And you? You'll keep sharing, keep questioning, keep demanding answers, keep refusing to accept secrecy as normal.
Together we make the Covenant's adaptation harder, slower, more costly, more visible. And eventually, maybe not in a year, maybe not in a decade, but eventually, the cost of secrecy exceeds the benefit of control. And that's when it ends. Not with a bang, not with arrests and trials and punishment, but with a whimper. With people simply walking away, refusing to participate, choosing transparency, choosing freedom, choosing their own destiny instead of accepting the one planned in hidden archives and sealed in wooden boxes. This is the end of the story. But it's not the end of the investigation, not the end of the exposure, not the end of the resistance. It's just the end of what I can tell you now, what I can prove now, what I can share now. The rest is up to you. Share this video before it's deleted. Download it, back it up, send it everywhere. Make it impossible to suppress. And then start investigating. Your local institutions, your government, your corporations. Who's making decisions? Where did they come from? What connections exist? You'll find patterns. You'll see coordination. You'll discover that what looks like independent decisions are actually orchestrated moves. And when you find that evidence, share it, document it, make it public. Because the Covenant thrives in darkness, dies in light. And every person who shines a light makes the next illumination easier, safer, more powerful. So shine, share, expose, question, resist. And remember, the three might be hiding. The archives might be sealed. The Covenant might be adapting. But you know now. You can't unknow. You can't unsee. You can't go back to accepting official narratives without question. And that knowledge, that awareness, that's the weapon they can't confiscate. The truth they can't erase. The power they can't control. Use it. The future is watching. The choice is yours. The time is now.